The U.S. and Japan are seeking tighter bilateral ties, namely in terms of military cooperation, with Prime Minister Fumio Kishida making a state visit to Washington this week. Then, what would that mean for the Korean Peninsula? For more, we're joined by Professor Lim Eun-jung this morning. Welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Why is Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida making a state visit to the U.S. now? I mean, does the timing have any significance?
Well, the specific visit was already, I think, organized and scheduled. If we recall our memory, in last year's November in San Francisco, there was a APEC meeting. And back then, again, the President Joe Biden, he invited Prime Minister Kishida to the United States. They originally said, like, it can be early 2024. So, again, it was more like a kind of, scheduled and planned meeting, I think. If we, again, recall our another memory, President Yoon's state visit was, lasted almost like 1 year ago, or last April. It has been almost like 9 years since the Japanese Prime Minister state's visit. Back then, again, Prime Minister Abe was the one, and the counterpart was the President Obama. President Yoon's state visit, there was a kind of 12 years gap between the last one and the President Yoon's one. So again, I don't see very specific meaning from the timing. I will say it was more like a kind of planned meeting.
So it comes as no surprise. Now, a deepening of security and defense ties and an expansion of arms co-development are believed to top the agenda for Kishida's visit. Why is Japan seeking tighter military ties with Washington?
Well, obviously, the international order has been shaken by many challenges. Of course, North Korea, its ambitious nuclear and missile plan program, it has been consistently threatening not only just South Korea, Japan as well. But beyond that, the Russia's invasion to the Ukraine, now the war in Ukraine entered into its third year, as it has been dragged and dragged. But more important meaning of this specific war is, again, the Russia, who is one of the P5 member, again, the permanent 5 members of the UN Security Council. They, again, cross the line, which does mean many things, again, in international the global governance regime. So obviously, again, Japan has been pretty much like threatened or challenged by this kind of, again, the behavior of superpower like Russia, who is trying to change the status quo with the violence, again, with the military force.
Right, lots of global uncertainties, namely geological risks over in Ukraine and also over in Gaza. Then, Professor Lim, I have to ask you, what would stronger military ties between Washington and Tokyo mean for us, Seoul?
Well, South Korea, we have been looking for, and we have been aiming for, pursuing really permanent peace in this region, again, on the Korean Peninsula. Without peace of the peninsula, we can't imagine the perpetual peace in this region, again, in Northeast Asia or even Asia overall. So definitely we have been seeking for a peace, but the thing is, again, the North Korea these days, again, today, and Russia, they really strengthen their, not only just military ties or politically too. Russia is backing up North, and the North is backing up Russia. So this kind of, again, very much, how would you say, collaborative behavior between the two, who are obviously, again, threatening the existing order. This is a huge challenge. And the North Korea's provocation has become much more complex than before. Again, for example, cybersecurity, or their ambition to develop the satellite, for example. So all those technological development has been, again, the challenging the countries like South Korea who loves peace. So as long as we need to protect protect ourselves, again, we need to, of course, be more communicative and cooperative with the countries who share the common interest, again, the peace, and share common values like, again, the freedom or democracy.
Right, and you mentioned this earlier. It's pretty much given Biden and Kishida will also be discussing security concerns related to North Korea. What kind of comments can we expect to come out? Any statements regarding North Korean issues?
Obviously, as I mentioned, again, the cyber security is getting more and more increasingly serious, and the cyber security issue is deeply and closely interconnected with the space technology as well. So I guess, again, probably the leaders will be mentioning about this development or North Korean abductee issue. Again, we do see a huge gap, perception gap between the Pyongyang and Tokyo. Again, Pyongyang, especially Kim Yo-jong, like leader, again, she kept saying that, again, that this is a settled problem. So as long as Tokyo wants to keep talking about this, there cannot be a dialogue between the Pyongyang and Tokyo. But Tokyo's position cannot be the same with the Pyongyang. Obviously, abductee issue is super important issue for any Japanese politician, not only politician, for the whole population. So again, we do see the gap. So I guess, again, this related comments can be included too.
And in the meantime, before I let you go, the U.S. is reportedly arranging a trilateral summit with South Korea and Japan again, and this time on the sidelines of a NATO summit in D.C. in July. How likely is it that that will actually happen, and what topics will top their summit this time?
I think it can be pretty much likely. Again, the President Yoon Suk-yeol of South Korea and Prime Minister Kishida Fumio of Japan, they already joined the NATO meeting from last June, for example, in Spain and then Lithuania. So if they go to the NATO meeting this time again, if so, I mean, it's going to be the consecutive, the third time. Of course, we don't need to stimulate unnecessarily China because our direct threat is, again, the North Korea. It's more urgent thing. But we definitely want to see a more like a balance. So we don't want to be entrapped in the security dilemma like circle. So in that sense, I do think, I do argue, we need to keep, maintaining our dialogue with the Beijing as well.
Definitely. All right, Professor Lim, thank you so much for joining us and your insight this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.